And at times, well, Buzz Knudsen at TOBE mixed the movie. He won 5 or 6 Academy Awards, maybe 7. And he also mixed The Exorcist. And so I didn't want to lose his mix. And so that was the hardest part. What was making this, the chainsaw go over your head, as you've heard, and cars passing down the road, and music even surrounding it. And it took about 6 months. I mean, it took us a long time to make the film in the first place.
Next question. Yes.
What were your inspirations?
Oh, to get another job. I saw. My mother went into labor with me in a movie theater, and I went to a movie every day of life, if not 2 or 3 movies. So, so I wanted to make something that hadn't been made, and this thing, I don't know, have you heard the shopping mall story? Yeah. Okay. So,
that's one. I think you should still probably share it.
So we were in the States being gas rationed, and there would be a 2-mile queue to be able to get 5 gallons of gas or something like that. So I was thinking about isolating a group of students in the wood, and when I was a kid, like 3 years old, I had relatives in Wisconsin who lived not far from this guy that would dig up graves and kind of cover the lampshades, and that was
Ed Gein.
I didn't know that at the time. That was Ed Gein, but that image burned a hole in my head. And so anyway, so I was holiday shopping, which is something that I hate, and it was really crowded, and I really wanted to get out of this mall, and so I was standing in the hardware department, and I looked down, and there's a rack of chainsaws for sale, and it was like a no-brainer, and I started on the damn saws and started walking the people who were and so I mean that didn't happen. I was killed in jail, so on the way home I started thinking about it, and all these pieces of the elements of these things I wanted to do started together about no escape, isolation, running out of gas, so I got home and I put Elton John's Yellow Brick Road that has dark undertones and beautiful music, and it came to me within a matter of seconds. I mean, so that, I think I answered your question. And that's how it came about.
Yes.
Can you talk about the creation of what I think is an absolutely magnificent score? And the score is not talked about a lot, so let's hear about the creation of the score.
Yeah. Well, I used I used to do what I called music, but it was these common things. I had some Sony tape decks, stereo decks, that I would run tape through two different heads from one to the other and back again to create certain amounts of reverb. had a lot of broken instruments, and I was collecting broken instruments that I would bang on and I would squeak on, and I used contact mics, little $5 contact mics that they don't make anymore. And so I was, creating bits and pieces of music that then I would transfer from quarter inch to 16 millimeter, and then I cut the sounds together on a flatbed on this moviola flatbed that was. I think there were only 2 or 3 of them that advertised that it would go 1,000 frames a second. And it did at one time, all by itself. It took off and it shredded about 200 feet of cut film and had to put back together. But anyway, I created, I edited, laying out a lot of different bits and pieces of sounds that I created. The choral, like I would howl down a poster tube with a contact mic on the cardboard poster tube, and it would create this kind of choral effect, kind of strange chorus. So anyway, and I think it's 5 or 6 tracks, or maybe even more. I'm not sure.
Yes.
I heard all the different legends around the movie. Is there a rumor that they were supposed to be doing autistic chasing Sally, that she was supposed to be topless or something?
There's a rumor that Sally was supposed to be topless and she was being chased by Leatherface. That Sally was supposed to be topless and she was being chased by Leatherface. I've never heard that.
No.
Sites are you reading?
I knew what I was dealing with, and I was calling the MPAA all the time because, and I got an X.
And you did get an X on the subsequent chainsaw film.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. But no, I got an R. I mean, it was asking for PG. And, I even asked them, how can I aim this girl on a meat hook and get a PG film? And so, you can't. I said, well, if I don't show penetration, if I don't show blood, if I show, well, you give it a try, but I doubt you'll get PG. And so it was shooting for that, and happily settled for an R. So.
Do you want to talk about settling for an NC-17 or an unrated release for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2?
Well,
that battle that came later.
Well, Part 2, I mean, they saw it and they said, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing. It's an X, or it's unrated. So we
the few Golden Globus releases to come out without a rating.
Yeah, and so and it had a large. I mean, I was making that movie with a release date and a deadline for release. So I had Tom Savini, and I could do what I wanted. And so at that time there was a lot of people criticizing, my films weren't gory enough.
Really?
Yeah, but maybe, because of like, Jason and Primus, maybe the same dude. So anyway, I decided, okay, hell, I'll give them what they want. And, or what I thought they wanted.
We have time for one last question. See your hand there. Yes.
Can you talk a bit about the troubled distribution history of Texas Chainsaw and how long it took for you and the rest of the team to get the rights back from a very duplicitous company?
Right. Well, I think it took about 2 years, and it was suing them in the state of Texas. so they had to come to Texas.
This is Bryanston.
Yeah, he's talking about Bryanston, and it was Lou Perino that was the president of the company, who later was floating in the,
Some River. It wasn't
Some
Austin.
River.
Yeah.
They paid the most money to pick the film up. I mean, the money automatically made 3 times its budget back. And they had Andy Warhol's Dracula, and Frankenstein 3D. Paul Morrissey directed. And I thought they did a good job with that. So, and so no one knew about the history of these people. They were just looking for money, the investors. And so it was a business deal. But I think it took about 2 years. We got the initial money and then nothing. And then so they got sued in Texas, and we won the lawsuit and got the picture.
Before we wrap up, I think you can't leave without telling the audience a Billy Idol story, or more particularly, a making Billy Idol angry with you story.
Oh, yeah, well, that was Billy's thing, he had a little pissed. And dancing with myself, and I would call him, I said, you're a fucking replicant, man. He looks Blade Runner. You don't look real. Okay. Said, when I was with Gen X, they'd spit all over me. I said, sure. And fine, and I would say, but you're definitely a replicant. And he said, okay, all right. And so I kept him so pissed at me. I was up on a crane shooting down, and he was screaming, I don't fuck you. I don't but fuck you did shoot the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Kissed my ass, and I said, fuck you. And I said, you unreal looking thing, you. And he starts shaking his fist at me. I say, do your shit, man. Action. But he never gave me friends after that. But he really looked pissed.
Thank you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, TOBE. Thank you.